Hey, good morning, folks. It's Mike Code, and we are broadcasting live from Podcast Mansfield. We got Steve Castillo, the engineer over here, running things. And our special guest today for Tiger Talks is Rodney Lawson, owner of Tiger Roofing out in Kaufman, Texas.
How we doing, Mike?
Man, we're
How we
doing
doing,
pretty good.
Steve? Uh,
Sleep pretty good last night?
I did.
You scared of doing this?
Um, I mean, there's a little bit of nerves that goes in with anything fresh and new, but yeah, I'm excited about it.
All right,
Cool.
let's get this rolling, man. So
Okay.
before we get down to the deep stuff and I make you cry, um, why, why don't you just start with the basics? Like, how'd you get into Tiger Roofing? What was the genesis of getting started with Tiger Roofing?
So I was actually an insurance agent with, I guess I can say the company. I
You can
was
say
with,
whatever you want.
okay. I was with Farm Bureau. And actually, how that started was I was an administrator in schools. And I won't mention what school district because it's in my work area, but I was interviewing for new principal's job, and I'd just come out of a really horrible 2 years after a great 3 years in my first full principal's job. And those that know me will know where I'm talking about, but go Bulldogs because I'm a big fan of the Bulldogs. And but the second stop wasn't so good, and it wasn't so good for a variety of reasons. And I was interviewing for a larger school district. At that time, they were 4A, now they're 6A. And right in the middle of the interview, I just looked up at the lady, and there was probably 10 or 15 people in there, and I said, I'm out. And she looked at me like,
Why'd you say I'm
what?
out?
I said, I'm out. And so I called my wife on the way home and I said, I don't know what we're going to do, but I am not going to be the principal at this school district. And she said, what do you mean? I said, I just told them I'm out.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, what are we going to do? And I was like, I don't know. We'll see. Well, hopefully God will open a door. And I was mowing the yards of Ellis County Farm Bureau, and the manager kept holding the check. Like I would go into the secretary and she'd go, Johnny's got it. And then he'd go back there and see him. And then he started just luring me in. And so I went in and worked for them for 4.5 years. And then just a couple of things that it just wasn't the right fit for me at that time. And uh, kids that I'd known and when I was tennis coach at Waxahachie were making a lot of money in roofing, and I got wind of it, and I landed in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and that's where I
Yeah.
started.
I love
Uh,
Minneapolis.
I worked for a huge company. They're 25, $50 million company now, and I went from Minneapolis down to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, which has the greatest food. I'm sorry, Chris, you think New Orleans does, but Baton Rouge has the greatest food.
Okay.
And I lived in a little town called Gonzales for about 3 weeks, or I mean, I'm sorry, about 3 months or 4 months, and went to all these fall festivals and just had a great time. I was did really well,
So you
and
fell in love with roofing.
yeah, and I came in basically. I kind of put it on the burner and went back into teaching, and actually ended up coaching golf at my alma mater in Terrell for 2 years. And after that, kind of went out on my own. I went to New York with a friend of mine, Brian Vickery, who's a very good influence, big influence. Him and Derek Howard were probably, and I cannot, man, if he sees this and I didn't mention him, John Cody Sanchez. If I didn't mention those three guys, those were probably big influences, along with a guy back in education, Rob Peters, and then of course you. I mean, after I got into it on my own, you and I met. I still remember about 10 miles from here at Abuelos
Yeah.
in Arlington, and so I would say that those. But my initial sales, Derek Howard, John Cody, and Brian Vickery had huge influences on me in that. And then Rob Peters, just from the way he served us, being a Balfour rep, had in had a huge influence on how to treat customers and how to treat people in general. Rob's staying coming to my house tomorrow night, and he's doing a scuba deal out near my house for 2 days, and he's probably 10 years older than me. He's a great man of faith. And then, like I said, once I became out on my own, then I met you, and we've had a great. Our friendship has been like brothers. So
Yeah, man. Well, Rodney, so you fell in love with roofing.
yeah, I did.
You said I'm not gonna be the principal here, but we're gonna figure it out. And you got
Yeah.
into roofing. Now let's fast forward to today. What does the business look like? Tiger Roofing. What does it look like today?
Whew. Well, my daughter runs the office.
Cali.
Yeah. And my son does a lot of the sales.
You're
And
talking
then,
about the good-looking one, Reese.
um, well, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the good looking one, obviously. He thinks he is. He's a
Okay.
legend. He's a legend sometimes in his own
All
mind, but
right.
he's good.
Yep.
He's you know, it's a family affair. My wife helps out.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I mean it's a big
Do you have any
deal.
salespeople?
We do have a part-time guy right now, Lee Denny, does very well, and
He's a good guy. I know him.
yep, and so we've had some come and go, but yep, we it's pretty much a family affair, and we do, we've been in business since full time since right around 2015.
Okay. Well, Rodney, let's uh let's kind of settle into this now.
Yep.
We got the intro out of the way. Everybody
Hmm.
knows what you're doing now. A couple months ago, we had a conversation, and you said, Mike, I really want to introduce more of my faith into the business. I
Yes.
want to talk about my relationship with God. I want to maybe do some speaking.
Hmm.
And that's kind of where it led me to reach out to Steve here. Steve's on the engineer panel running this thing. And I said, Steve, I think that we want to at least try this.
Sure.
So today, I asked you what was on your shirt. There's a Bible reference on your shirt.
So it's the Arianic blessing. I don't really talk about it unless someone mentions it.
Okay.
Um,
Well, I mentioned it. What's it say?
so the Arianic blessing, I need to probably look it up because I used to know it by heart and I haven't looked. I didn't even realize I had it on until you said something. Um, uh-oh.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm 59, so I'm gonna have to put on my
No,
glasses.
while you're looking that up,
I've got it.
the interesting thing to me was that Rodney said, Mike, I want to get out and I want to speak. I want to help fill in for churches. Maybe they need a speaker on a weekend or a weekday night. I just want to get out there and start sharing my faith more. So, Rodney, with that said, what's that Bible verse say?
So I'm gonna try to do this without my reading glasses. I may have to go back to it, but the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. So that's
Yeah. So what's that mean?
I from my take on it, I would say that you know, if you put God first, he will bless you and make you prosper. There's another one that we use now. If I can get to it pretty quick, I don't know if I'll be able to get to it, but it is in Psalm 25. There it is. Um, and it basically is something that I actually started the first 3 months of my couples Bible study that I lead. And it talks about trusting God. And it says, "Oh my God, in you I trust. Let me not be out to shame." And later on in the verse and in the passage, it says, if you obey his laws and keep his commands, that he will prosper you and
Hmm.
that your kids will inherit the land. And then it ends with, as Christians, we should look highly and favorable on Israel, and it talks about at the end of the Psalm 25 of deliver Israel from its enemies, and I do think that's a big part of our lives, and I do think that I ran across a talk by what led me into starting to look more at my faith is one, I was coveting. And in fact, I'm fixing to
What do you mean coveting?
I be honest, I was breaking the commandment, the ninth commandment, or I'm sorry, the 10th commandment. And, I was always wanting to be like XYZ or ABC roofing company. I wanted all the perks, and I wanted, I wanted to be the biggest, baddest roofing company instead of just getting out there and just taking care of people. And that's what got me into the business. And that's what, like I said, the three, four, five people that had a lot of influence on me, there were great influences, but it also sometimes led me to be selfish and wanting more and wanting more. And I just had to get back to my roots. I don't know if you're going to go into this other, 5 years ago, we opened a diner. It was the thing that I wanted to do all my life.
Okay.
And it kind of became probably the worst mistake I ever made. And if any of my employees are going to see this, it's nothing towards my employees. I just should have probably got on my knees and prayed about it and said, is this really the way I needed to go? Now, it ended up being a ministry at some time for me and my wife reluctantly took it on. In fact, I was teasing her this morning. We were talking about it, and I said, well, it's your diner, and just do whatever you want to. And she's like, no, she said, no, it was not my diner. It was your diner. And I was teasing, of course. Um, and
Is that like when you fight over your kids when they're being bad?
yeah, probably.
It's your kid?
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
Okay.
that's your kid. The one you mentioned, the cutest one, often I say, that's your kid. And
Hey,
she goes,
hey, let's not go there.
oh, no. She goes, oh, her and the daughter both will go, oh, no, that is your son all the way through. And
So how does this relate to, these verses that you talked
mhm.
about putting God first? Like the
So,
roofing, the diner, what does this practically mean for you?
so in the diner, you know, I think I would say I jokingly said a prayer, say like, God, you really want me to do this? Okay, let's go. And
Okay.
in the first day, I even met with the owner. I put down a earnest money and said, I want this, without even coming back, talking to anybody in the family or whatever. I just went ahead and did it. And it was 6 weeks before COVID. And
Oh, shoot.
yeah,
You're trying to open a restaurant 6 weeks before COVID?
well, I was taking over one, and we were doing really well into March, and we survived COVID. And I paid everybody, kept them paid, and we survived 5 years. And the truth is, I probably should have got out 3 years in or 4 years in. It never was fully profitable. We did get it to a point to where it never was like costing money out of the roofing company. The first year it did, and then towards the end, we started having to dip into the roofing side to make sure that bills were covered and people got paid on time and everything. The reality of the diner is that we took a snapshot of January to June this year versus the previous two January to Junes, and we lost 85,000 in sales.
Ooh.
Yeah, and that's a lot,
Yeah, that is a
and
lot.
that's a big hit on a diner that is doing 700 to, or 600 to 700,000 in sales.
Yeah.
And like I said, it took a lot out of me on my roofing. I didn't realize at my age, I'm 59, about to be 60. I didn't realize at my age that the fatigue factor at nights, just going up there eating and just kind of conversing with customers, which I love. I love our customers and I love our employees. But at the end of the day, it was taking my focus off the roofing company as well.
Hmm.
And Um, to go out and diversify, you have to have systems in place, and you have to have things in place consistently so that you can do some of that things. And we didn't. What I thought I had in place was not adequately in place.
Yeah. Do you ever get to the place where you feel like the business you built, um, whether it's Tiger Roofing or whether it was the diner, do you ever feel like you got to the place where it just didn't serve you anymore? It wasn't doing what it was intended to do?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. In both situations, the diner at times, dealing with them, um, personalities, dealing with whether it be customers upset about their meal, um, the roofing just getting burned out because you're working long hours. Roofing can be very seasonal at times, but when it is in peak, it can be very long days. And if you don't, and I came up with this idea, and I don't know if it's something that you and I talked about in one of our times together, or if I just came up with it over time. Um, I really feel like every 8 weeks you should take a 3 day break, and then at least twice a year you should take a full week away from everything.
Yeah.
And I don't always follow that.
Yeah. When you feel like the business is running away from you, where you're starting to operate in a place where it doesn't fit your style of working, like you're having to operate outside your comfort zone, and it's pushing you, and you're 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 trying to hold all your loose ends together, and you're losing track of stuff. You know, do you feel like you're operating outside of your zone of genius, and you're losing control of things?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Every sales, I've been through a lot of them. I've been through farm bureaus. I've been through New York Life's sales. I've been through a couple of stock financial advisor deals, and every one of them will tell you that if you are working in a desperate situation, or if your mind is distracted, you're not going to be effective. Heck, I know that from teaching, from being a school administrator, just the in services that we go through. If you're not focused on what you're doing, it'll be a disaster. Or you might can string it along, and you might can do okay, but you're going to lose things. You don't know what's falling through the cracks when if I can say that effectively. You don't know what's falling through the cracks, because you're trying to. It's kind of like the cartoon. I think it was the old one of the old Felix the Cats or Bugs Bunny cartoons where the boat has holes in it, and you're trying to plug that hole, and right behind you the other hole
Yeah.
comes up, and so you turn and plug that. Well, then it
Yeah.
sprouts up, if you know what I'm saying there, or can catch that visual.
Yeah. Is that the only time you feel like you're kind of fighting against yourself in your own business? Like you're the one causing the problems, and you're running out of energy to solve the problems. Like you're plugging things up faster than.
No, I mean, I think there are other times where you just have a situation to where like when roofing's at its peak, you've got a lot of times, so especially if it's in your area, if a storm is hit in your area, you have things that are coming at you so fast, sometimes it's hard to look up at times.
Hmm. Let's let me ask you this question. So, the roofing industry is full of advice, gurus, talking heads. Um, do you ever feel like you're trying to do all the best practices, everything that everybody's saying? Hey, Rodney, you should run your business like this, and you should advertise like this, and you should run your teams like this, and you should run your sales like this, and you just like this doesn't work for me. Like that I can't do that. I have to operate the way that I operate. And what are some examples of that?
It's funny, you just actually gave me an idea, and you don't even probably realize it, because I used to, like I said, be both a teacher and an administrator. And it's kind of like it's not just roofing, it's every industry. We tend to run, like, if I'm a big sports fan. And so if and I'm not going to, my coaching friends are going to ridicule me probably because I'm not going to get this right. But if the spread offense goes in and wins the Super Bowl,
Okay.
let's say the let's say the Dallas Cowboys start. I don't know what Schottenheimer is going to run, but let's just say he runs the spread offense and he runs cover two on defense, and those are just basic stuff that most even fans should know. If that goes in and wins, every team is going to try to copy that.
Right.
And so what happens
West Coast
is,
offense.
so
Boom.
take that back to like even I'm going to take a shot at teaching right now because it's probably one of the reasons I left is we're taking too many tests, we're taking too many this, and we're trying to chase every country in the world when the greatest country is the United States. It has been. It's the greatest society that has ever been created, and yet we chase everybody else because we're not number one in math or we're not number one in science. But yet everybody comes to the U.S. for help, and everyone comes to the U.S. for everything, and we have forgotten our part of just teaching teaching and a child and trying to make them better by the day
Yeah.
and trying to develop them and get them prepared at their like I have a fourth grader, a first grader, and then a 2 year old, or she's going to be two in November. And she will start actually Sunshine School, plug the Sunshine School in Kaufman, Texas. But we all we need to be worried about is preparing that my granddaughter Remy to be ready for fifth grade in 2026, and all we need to do is prepare Sutton to be ready for second grade in 2026, and this other stuff we need to be. This other stuff is the testing, and sure there should be some testing. We need to measure them,
Yeah.
but the measurement needs to be made on what they've been taught that year, not these concepts that they're not really ever taught and we're just teaching to a test. No, we should be teaching to discover because that's what makes people great is when you start discovering things and you look to understand and look for you challenge your mind when you are out there to discover things, not just out there to get it off your cell phone or to get it off to go to the computer. And we have become a society that, and this will be our detriment. We've forgotten God, and we have forgotten our values. And whether you're a believer or not, just the two parent way. And I'm going to ruffle some feathers here, but I believe God designed marriage for one man, one woman, and we have forgotten our family values there, and then so if we are going to crumble as a society, it's not going to be because Biden was as president or Trump was president. It's going to be because we forgot what made us great to begin with.
Yeah.
I hope I didn't offend anybody
No,
in
that's
there.
good. We got a message from Steve, the engineer. Steve, we got some questions coming in, or
Oh, wow.
what do we got? What's a typical reset mindset that Rodney does? So that's a good
So you
question.
want me to,
That's
how
Eric.
about we,
What's going on, Eric? How you doing?
how about we, I tell you what, what about the 168? You want me to
Let's do it.
talk a little bit about
Yeah.
that? So, Eric, I'm not as deep as you are in your industry, and I do believe that I still would love to get out there and play golf with you one day. I'm not going to get on the surfboard. I'm not going to do that at all. I am respectfully jealous of you that you can do that. That is a trait that I'll never be able to do. But I do think I could take you at Torrey Pines, and I am pretty confident about that. But here's my
Are we
mindset.
using this podcast to trash talk?
No, I'm just kind of taking a little
Okay.
good natured jab at him, and he can good natured jab at us.
All
I
right.
didn't know it was live, so that's cool, and that's cool in a sense. Um, so here's what I've been trying to work on, and it's been a struggle, and it will be a struggle if you've never used it. There's a thing that I'm starting called the 168, and actually I can come out and speak to anyone about it. I'm not, if that's okay for me to
Yep.
say. And I learned it from Craig Groeschel. I watch his podcast. In fact, I was listening to one on the way to Mansfield today. It's about a 55-minute drive from where I live to Mansfield. And the 168 breaks down like how many hours a week you sleep, how many hours a week you work, and then what you fill in with those other hours. And where Craig Groeschel was going, if you don't know anything about Craig Groeschel, he's a motivational and leadership speaker in the mindset of John Maxwell, but he's also a pastor of life churches. And there are like, I don't know, I think there's 35 or 40 of them. In fact, Rob Peters' son, Doug Peters' wife, is a either kid pastor or maybe a campus pastor. Um, I'm not sure if it's here in Mansfield or Eagle Pass, but she's somewhere in the DFW area. And so it's just weird how all that connects.
Yeah.
But anyway, the 168 allows you to plan your week out. And where Craig was going with it in one of his sermons is how many hours a week are you spending with God?
Okay.
And what it comes back down to answer what the mindset that Eric is talking about, is what it comes back down to is, you know, if you're not always learning, and so you were talking about there's every mindset, every person out there is getting in, doing this, doing that. You're exactly right. There's a lot of voices out, a lot of talking heads out there. And the problem becomes is if you listen to this one for a while and then listen to this one for a while, then you get confused a lot of times.
Right.
And so what I try to do is I try to sprinkle in, I use you for consulting, but I also try to sprinkle in a little bit of Craig Groeschel into my life, or I try to, and I'm kind of speaking against what I'm saying, but I'm trying to go back to trusting God first and foremost. And then once I built that foundation, then I'm going to try to glean in or lean into some things that I feel that can be productive for me and Kathy, me, Kathy, Callie, and Reese, and then Lee, if and anybody else, even my crews, just relating to my crews as well. And so hopefully I've explained that or not, but it's really about honing in and getting production out of your 7 days. And I think we need to rest. One of the commandments was honor the Sabbath. And I think that we need to implement rest in our week. And I didn't do that for a long time. And it
No, you
almost
didn't.
cost me. It almost
You
cost
ran
me.
it all the way into the ground,
Yeah,
Rodney. I don't
I
know
did.
anybody that put in more hours than you were putting in. You and Kathy both.
Yeah, no, yeah, yeah. I am in a deep hole of indebtedness to my wife. You didn't open this up, but she is a rock, and a rock that I have taken for granted at many times, and I'm very indebted to her. So, it is. Uh, I can't change the last 5 years. Not that I would, because I really wanted to do this, and despite me not asking God, "Hey, is this something that you would have me do? Is this the right move?" Um, I'm glad I did it, and
Hmm.
that's gonna sound uh, anti-religious or anti. I'm glad I did it. I wish that I had done it differently because God might have still opened that door. I
Yeah.
just didn't give him a chance. Now, I will say this because I was stubborn and God knew I would be stubborn. I would also say that I said earlier I should have cut it off at 3, 4 years. God's like, no, you open this door, so we're going to leave it open until you learn. And I finally learned. It was a hard lesson, but we were on a vacation. We didn't take vacation for the first 3 years of having both businesses. Couldn't. I mean, and then we finally took a vacation in about halfway between about 4.5 years in, we took a really nice vacation and followed that up with one. And then about 2 months before we closed down, we took a vacation to Italy with great friends. I can't say enough about them. And it was there that they went on an excursion one day, and I decided to stay on the ship. And I knew then, and I just said, "Look, God, I'm sorry, don't know what else to do, but I think I would really like to be out from under this." And it just kind of opened the door to where we knew it was time. And he was like, "Okay, I think you've learned. Hopefully, you've learned. I feel like I've learned. I'm trying to trust him more." It's hard because we want to trust God. It's easy to trust God in the easy times.
Yeah.
But then also in the easy times, we do sometimes get careless and we try to put him aside and say, "Yeah, I don't need you right now, God, because it's great."
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to, and then sometimes it's hard to trust him when we're going through the storm, because it's like, well, why did you deliver this storm to us? And yet, I think I think we need to trust him at all times.
Yeah. Whew, Rodney, getting rid of that diner
It was.
was a big step,
It
wasn't it?
was.
Um, were there, and you said that the diner wasn't, even though it broke even and there was some advantages to it, it wasn't particularly profitable.
Well, yeah, let me expand on that, because
Yeah.
then I'll tell you what happened the day after. Um, the the pluses to that were we had some turkeys and for employees. I think a couple of mine, especially if my waitress, my main waitress views this, she will get a laugh out of it. But we had some amazing employees. The main waitress was there every day, rang the bell just about every day. She took some vacations, but she was there every day, worked her butt off. And we had some, I can't, there's there's a girl right now that's meeting Kathy that's going to play college volleyball this year in, I believe, Missouri. And she's up there right now with Kathy. We'll be up there shortly, either right now while we're doing this or shortly after this podcast. And great girl. But there was another girl that I hired on the recommendation of her sister who was working for me when we were in Terrell, and also a great girl and cut out of the mold of my main waitress. And her name's Jordan. And I've seen Jordan go from dishwasher all the way to we could leave and trust Jordan that things were going to be handled without any issues. And so you meet people like that, and then you meet people. This lady that has been with us for several years, named Maria, as a cook. Another cook, Jose, that left and went back to Mexico because of a tragic situation. I really don't think it's appropriate to go in here at the a podcast, but it was just a tough family situation that was felt among all the employees as well. And that was a tough part. And that's the part is you are dealing with human beings that have stories themselves,
Yeah.
that come. They may have gotten in a fight with their spouse, or they've had family tragedy, just like I was talking about. And you have to take on that. And you do it in roofing, but not near to the extent that I
Mm-hmm.
was doing it in restaurant business. And then you have customers. And, we served home cooking, and that draws a older, 50 and over crowd. And over the 5 years, man, you got people that come in 4 or 5 times, maybe even every day. And like we've got a guy that we hung a hat up in our diner right by the booth that he sat in every day for the first 2 years we were open, and he passed away.
Mm.
And he was beloved in Crandall. He was just one of the most beloved guys there is. and we lost them 2, 3 years ago. And it's hard. I mean, it's hard on people don't understand. Even though we're owners and we're out there as entrepreneurs trying to make a living, trying to make a go of this, and trying to be successful, you get what's the word? You get caught up in the stories behind. We had a lady that came in the Saturday before we closed, and told me she was checking out, and she said, "Rodney, I'm sorry, I have not been in here for 3 years." And I was like, "It's fine. I mean, I get it." And she goes, "No, you don't." And she goes, "My husband would come in here 4 or 5 times a week."
Hmm.
And she said he passed away 3 years ago, and I just could not bring myself to come in here because this was his favorite spot. And it takes it out of you.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Right.
And so, in that respect, um, and I think Kathy, if she was here, would 100% agree
Yeah.
that that part, it became a ministry
Right.
for Kathy, for me, dealing with employees that were going through things. We had, like I said, um, we had a tragedy that took us probably months to get over. That would happen within the situation where a person took his life. And what do? It affects it affects everybody. I don't care who you are or where you're at. And it can affect your business. And you have to recover from that, which we did. But you just have to, it still affects you. And it was just a drain. It was a physical, mental drain that I never thought. Roofing is hard, especially when you're trying. Anytime, and I would tell Kathy this all the time. I tell Reese and Callie this. Being an entrepreneur, you could line up consultants all across, and you can line up. It's so different from anything else. And I don't know who else is watching, but I guarantee Eric Richardson would 1,000% echo what I'm about to say. You can be an entrepreneur. You can have the best consultant in the world, and I think you are. You can have and there's several coaching gurus out there, many, many coaching gurus out there. I can call Brian Vickery anytime and say, "Hey, Brian, I need to talk to you about this," or I could probably call John. I know I could call John Cody up, and I could talk to any one of them. I could talk to Rob on the golf course, but there's just times, and my parents died 8 and 7 years ago, and there's no pastor, there's nobody. But there are times you're just on an island by
Yeah.
yourself, and you can probably relate. And there's nobody that can help you,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, if you don't have a faith, I don't know how you figure it out. I
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah. Man, that's good stuff, Rodney.
You weren't supposed to get this deep with me.
Well, but
But let me finish.
yes,
I
sir.
forgot what I was going to tell you. I'm sorry. This is I didn't know what we were doing today, so this is great. But and this is nothing to the employees. Kathy and I love you, to the community at Crandall. We love you 1,000%. We love our employees. But we left out of town. I had scheduled a friend of mine that I met a year ago who's become a dear friend, Chris Galambos. I think I'm saying this right. And his son, Crew. And then Reese joined us. And I didn't know Reese was going to join us, but he did, to play golf the next day. And when I got to that first tee, it was and I played a lot of golf. I didn't get to play as much in the 5 years that I had both the roofing and the restaurant going on. But even Chris noticed it. He's like, "Boy, you look like you're relaxed." Or I said, "It's the doors were closed. We're done, and we're not going back. We're not re uh, thinking this. We're done. I mean, and we have been.
Mm.
Um, again, it's not something we wanted to do, but in the end, it was the right decision. We would love to be, it's teachers are going back to school, and that was one of our busiest weeks. We'd love to be seeing the teachers going by. I tried to make a point when I came into the diner every day to go by every table before I went back to the kitchen to check on them and just to make sure I said hi to every customer and to say, "Hey, is everything good?" I tried to do that because, as you said, I think it's important that we take care of customers and stuff. But then I would also try to go back to the kitchen and say, "We all good back here and everything?" But when we were done, we were done. And I don't think Kathy's, we are still closing down some things. We're selling equipment and stuff like that. But it's the most relaxed feeling I had on July 13th. It was
It was over.
unbelievably, it was totally different, and
Yeah,
it's been different. And it's starting to allow me to regain some energy to hopefully continue to grow my roofing company and
sure.
that kind of aspect.
Very good. Very good. Hey, Eric, thank you. I appreciate the comment you left there. See, Michael Deere dropped a comment. Craig is a beast. You know what Michael's talking about?
No.
Okay. Michael, thanks for commenting. Listen, are there things about roofing? We talk quite a bit about the diner here, but are there things about roofing that are particularly draining to you in the course of your day, being an owner? Even though they might be productive, like they might make you money, but like when you're in the middle of that thing, it's like, man, this is draining my energy.
Yeah.
What are those things?
Um, Man. Well, that's a big question. I mean, the details sometimes. The I'm trying to change more to a retail format. Well, I'll just tell you, you know, a family member called me, wanted me to come look at her roof, and um, it's over here in this area.
Hmm.
And I came and looked at her roof, and she wasn't aware that she had an ACV policy.
Yeah. Well,
And the adjuster was hugely kind and considerate. Boy, I wish I got his full name. Tyler is his first name, I believe. I called him Rob at first, and I think his first name is Tyler. Great guy, and took the time to say, "Hey, if we're going to go forward with this claim, I want you to know this is what's going on." And it ended up that it's just frustrating things like that is that in our industry there is not enough knowledge. And I don't want to turn this into a bashing of carriers. There's there's things in all areas of the industry that need to be cleaned up. On my side, on the carrier side, on the state side, there's just all kinds of things that need to be cleaned up. But those are the things that kind of can drag you down because she was emotionally upset about it. She was emotionally angry about it, rightfully so. And at the same time, you're there. You have to explain it when you don't even also maybe not even. It's not my job to do an agent's job,
right.
and the agents have no accountability. Insurance would say contractors have no accountability, and they're absolutely right. Um, but there's no accountability. And I will say this, and I'm not trying to take this to a political point. The Texas Department of Insurance is probably the weakest thing there is in our in our state as far as accountability. They're not going to keep anybody accountable.
Ooh, hot sports opinions. All right, Rodney, we're at the top of the hour here. Just to recap real quick,
Hmm.
um, you are actively open to speaking engagements,
Yeah, yeah, I could
and
come and speak on, especially on the 160A. If you need some faith deal, uh, I'm not young in my faith. I am, uh, I'm not a pastor. I'm not. Um, if, like I said, July 13th, I was playing golf, but I was also about 2 hours east of my house. So if you know where I live in the Kaufman Terrell area. So you could probably figure out where I was. But no, I do have a strong faith. I don't believe that you are, have to be perfect. There was one perfect person, but I believe that faith, you have to believe in something. And I think every guru that is a consultant like yourself or a leadership developer would tell you better believe in something, whether it's Jesus Christ, which I do believe in, or um, e- even atheists have to have a belief in something. I have a friend of mine that lives in the Northwest area. His first name is Bill, and I never met the guy, but I love him like a brother. And I don't agree with any of his political beliefs, and don't really agree with his sports opinions. But I am fascinated by his uh, doctrine or his mantra or his beliefs, because even though he says, "Yeah, I don't believe in anything," he believes in something. Everybody believes in something. Um, I just believe that we are created human beings, and believe that there is a belief. Because if you don't believe in something, then what keeps you from doing right and wrong?
mm,
You have to believe in something. And maybe you have a moral compass. Well, that's a belief. And that's a belief in something. I think that, and while I think both of us have a moral compass, like we're not going to commit murder, we're not going to steal probably, but the faith that has been taught to us by our parents, our grandparents, by pastors and stuff goes deeper, and we have a faith because our hope is in Jesus Christ. If you don't have a hope, then you're just wandering through in a meaningless life, and man, that would be a dangerous thing to me, I think.
yeah. All right, we're wrapping it up here. Rodney, you also have a Bible study
I do.
that meets regularly. Can you
We
give us
have
details on that?
so I don't lead a men's Bible study, but it meets in my place. It's
At your
a
event center
yes,
over in Terrell,
In Kaufman.
south of Terrell,
It's in Kaufman.
in Kaufman.
Yeah, it's in the Kaufman County, it's in Kaufman. Terrell's about 12 miles east of us, but yeah, and the men's Bible study meets every other Wednesday. I think it's coming up this coming Wednesday, and then the Bible study meets twice a month, and our couples Bible study meets twice a month on Saturdays, and our dates in August are the 9th and the 23rd. Kathy doesn't know I may add a third one just because we're going to do a study on the Ten Commandments that my church did this summer. And I thought, man, I hadn't thought about that in a long time. And maybe we need to dive deeper into it. So we're going to do I think I can do it in 2 weeks, but it may take 3 weeks. And so I may add a third week.
Fantastic.
So
If you guys would
it's
like to
great.
reach out to Rodney, he's easy to get hold of. He's on Facebook. You can leave a message. Craig Rochelle. Thanks, Michael, dear. I didn't know who Michael was talking about.
Oh, Craig Rochelle,
Craig
yeah.
Rochelle. By
I
the way,
listened to him on the way to here
Michael
this
says that
morning.
Craig Rochelle's a beast. Michael
He
Deere
is.
is a beast.
Yeah.
He-
Yeah.
That dude knows what he's doing. Jackson,
Yes.
Mississippi. Shout out to
Yes.
Michael Deere. All right, so if you need to get a hold of Rodney, reach out to him on Facebook. I want to thank Steve. Steve, thank you for running engineer today. Rodney,
Oh, thank you.
we're in studio, man.
I didn't know
Can
what
you
we were
believe it?
doing. Mike never gave me a deal. He just said it's going to be good, and I don't know how good it was. I hope it was
It
good.
was good.
Uh,
It
so I
was good.
appreciate you picking me. I appreciate you picking me to do this.
All right. Hey, this is Mike. This is Rodney. Y'all make it a great day.